couple of weeks ago, we looked at the Innie builds, A350, I almost said A380. And, well, I thought it was a good airplane. And some of you thought it was a good airplane. Some of you were a little bit taken aback by the price. And understandably so. It's not a cheap airplane, but I still stand by my thoughts and opinions. Today we're going to be doing the opposite and looking at a couple of aircraft that have been recently being the last 6 months. It's really hard to find these airplanes. Airplanes that are completely free. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Flight Simulator 2024. Welcome to the beautiful nation of Ireland, and welcome to our free airplane shootout. This is the Avro. Just go to my settings real quick. The Avro Anson Mark 1. I knew Avro and Mark 1. Anson escapes me. And it's free. It's free on the Microsoft Store. So we're going to take a look at this and then one other aircraft while the train passes by. Yep. We hear you. Yep. Yeah. Oh, yep, we hear you, bud. And we'll see what $0 gets you. And maybe later on, being in a different video, we'll look at, look at some cheaper alternatives as well. But without further ado, let's get started with the Avro Anson Mark 1. We'll move to our next aircraft. So I do want to point out, this is not going to be nearly the same level of in-depth. This being a free aircraft, it's relatively limited in scope and detail. Again, we're really not going to nitpick anything because this cost me absolutely nothing whatsoever. You know, if this was like a $5, $10 aircraft, then we might have something to say, but it cost nothing, so I don't know, like, it doesn't look good, but it didn't cost anything. Like, I don't know. We'll take a listen to the sounds. It is kind of weird that there's like the modern fighter pilots sitting in there, but it's I actually don't know anything about this aircraft. The only Avro aircraft I know readily is the Avro Vulcan, which has a couple more engines, and they're not the spinny boys, they're the pushy jetty ones. So you know, I will say the cabin, while it's not high fidelity or anything, it's neatly laid out. Again, me not knowing anything about this aircraft, I can't speak to its accuracy, but I do like, you know, little bits of detail. This is a little E6B here, and map of, is this Central Europe? Yeah, Germany, that would make sense. Old Avro aircraft taking on Jerry. So, I mean, nothing's high fidelity, but I don't know. Again, like, I think the layout's good. I think the layout's decent. Let's talk about some of the weak points here. As far as I can tell, there are very, very, very few clickable things in this aircraft, and some of the things that are not clickable really need to be, such as my magnetos. I can't do anything with those. I don't really care about any of those. I can turn the battery on. That's good. It turns on the panel light automatically, I guess. I'm assuming this bomb firing deal here would have been in a previous build. I can't turn on the landing lights manually. So that's fun. I can move my condition and throttle levers independently, so I can do that. We can do that. We can do that. And then obviously I've got the controls on my HOTAS. I think this is trim. Yeah, that's their trim wheel, so I can move that, which is good. Is this fuel cutout? Slow running cutout. Pull. I have no idea what that means. And that's kind of it. Like we saw before, there's nothing in the rears clickable. I can't even, because I can't turn on my magnetos, so I have the starter coils for the left and right engines. Because I can't turn on the magnetos, like, I would need a keybind. I also can't turn on the nav lights without a keybind. These are kind of useless, right? What's the point of hitting your starter coil if you can't turn on the magnetos first without a keybind? to keep saying that because that's the obvious fix. Let's go up to the front. Old Bombardier's station. It's very cool. I must call that a sextant. That's not what that is. But Bombardier sight, your altimeter, clock, airspeed indicator, and a little landing light. So, I mean, you know, it's like I said, there's nothing. Let's just move away from there. Recycled textures. I see. You could have just made that black. I mean, is that supposed to be a visualization of the back? It almost looks like it is. You've got two instruments here. You've got a pedostatic. I don't know if that's electronic. That's some sort of bed line. So, I mean, maybe. No, not really, because I'm missing my... Okay, doesn't matter. I don't know why I thought so. Let's, Oh, these are the magnetos. What the hell are these? Switch box identification, downward, upward. Oh, they're Morse lamps. It's for the Morse lamps. Okay, so maybe you can start this as it sits. So I've got... Let's go to normal fuel. I've got the magnetos on. Let's start the left engine first. We'll crack the throttle. Look at that. I'm just a moron. You knew that. You already knew that. That's fine. And I will say, even though the soundscape on this aircraft... Oh yeah, the window opens too. I forgot to mention that. Even though the soundscape here isn't great, it's better than I thought it would be. Like, significantly. Like I said, it's not winning any awards, but I don't know. I think it's jolly good. Let's go park brakes off. Eyes are my fuel tanks. Don't care about that. I can't open the bomb doors, which sucks. There might be a keybind for it, but bomb doors. No. Would you look at that? I can't open the bomb doors. This is all just coming back to me being an absolute idiot. And there's little bombs in there. This can't be more than like 25, 50 kilos each, but yeah, there's bombs. Look at that. That's pretty neat. Alright, let's quit messing around here. We'll take off our park brake. A little bit of power. Just a little bit. We'll taxi out to the active here. Oh, there's a rear gunner seat. I didn't even get to explore that. It's too busy on my silly ground things. Let's go look at that rear gunner seat real quick. I'll also say the ground handling is, again, not groundbreaking, but it's decent enough. Oh, look at that. There's a rear gunner. Is that not Stein? It's it was a French gun. Vickers? I don't know. I don't know. Some British-made drum-based machine gun. Very nice. Not very nice. But very free. Very good price. Very free. We love free here. And that's the name of the game. Is what can you get for the littlest amount of money? And it, honestly, it's pretty good. Like, for what it is and what it does, it's pretty good. If I do say so myself. So far. Full disclosure, I did fly this around a little bit just to make sure it works. The next airplane I haven't. I literally got home from work, installed it, and said, alright, well, we'll try this live. Not live, but in real time. Want to note, I still have a good amount of travel left in my throttles. I'm just right below the red line on the boost gauges. If I wanted to, I could go all the way up. Oh, my things are falling. I could go all the way up and past that boost red line there, but we don't need it. We're light on fuel. Here comes the gear. You can hear it squeaking away. Takes a while. It's manually retracting, but you can see it is going up there. a little bit wonky from that side. There we go, that's much better. I will say, it doesn't look... Oh, no. Okay, well, minus my inability to fly it. Let's restart that, shall we? Oh, there's even, like, scraping sounds. I'm almost glad that I crashed. Hold on, we'll reset here and we'll do a secondary flight. I also want to point out, differential braking works an absolute treat on this airplane. Watch how quickly I can spin this thing around. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, spin it round. Okay, a little bit too much differential braking on my part. Went a little bit heavy on the sauce. But I'm not even full rudder. Like, now I'm full rudder. And I'm just riding that left brake. So, ground handling, fairly good also, if I do say so. Which I do. Alright, added a little bit of flap in. We're going to go right up to that red line in the boost gauge there. Just to make sure we've got sufficient speed. We'll keep the nose down as well. I thought we had a aggressive, albeit okay, climb profile, but I was obviously mistaken. A little bit of travel to the right of the runway keeps the aircraft feeling alive. I love the little squeak. Absolutely love that. Bring those flaps in as well. Keep monitoring the airspeed. It's jumpy airspeed. I'm assuming that's just winds aloft. We are on the Irish coastline, so that is Atlantic Ocean out there to the west. We'll do one single pass and then set up for a landing. Huh. I wonder, normal takeoffs. I'm willing to bet, and we'll check this when we get back on the ground, but I'm willing to bet that if I were to move that condition lever to the takeoff position, I don't think we'd be taking off. I think we'd be restarting the engines. And I say that because the binds that I have for this aircraft are the same as most of the other aircraft that I fly. I don't have unique binds for anything. I just kind of go, alright, this does this, this does this. I'm sure a lot of you do as well, too, for those of you who have multiple aircraft that you fly. And when I move my binding for the mixture, it's an axis actually, but when I move it that direction, that's the same direction I would move it to cut off fuel. So, alright, 180 miles per hour, call it 175, 170 now. We are cooking in this little Avro. I almost called it a Vickers. It's a nice pull. 100. Start transitioning the gear now. It's going to take a while with that big hand crank. And we'll look to maintain above 100 knots. If she gets unhappy at less than 120, really wants to dip a wing. Alright, full flaps. Good nose down attitude. Let's see if we can salvage this landing here. We're going to be past the touchdown zone, that's for sure. But I think it's still salvageable. Oh, a headwind. Or a tailwind, rather. Love that. That also might be why I crashed the first time. Alright, non-sailable. Let's go around. Leave the gear down. In through 80 knots. Shallow climb established. Really, really fighting with the yoke. You can't really tell, but just take my word there. There's my aileron deflection. You can see how much I'm fighting. Tailwind really, really biting off airspeed from us. Let's get turned around. We'll pitch the nose down a little bit. She's really, really going to fall apart below 80 miles an hour. There's 95-ish, give or take. Alright, full flaps. Pull power back just a little bit. Then we'll keep one power back. Much better profile with a correct headwind. You can see we're veined almost perfectly into it. We're going to dip the right wing down just a little bit. Trying. Is it called crabbing in the tail dragger? Well, that's what we're going to do. A little bit floaty on the way down. I really want to get back to that center line. There's the touch. Alright, free airplane number 1 checked off the list. Oh, I wanted to see if I move this to the takeoff position. What happens? You'll be surprised to see that my engines have shut down. Let's move on to free airplane number 2. For our final aircraft, we are in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. The world's busiest control tower. Sort of. Not really. But that's neither here nor there. What is here is the E2D Hawkeye. The advanced Hawkeye, actually. The E2 is the normal Hawkeye. This is the E2D. Now, I already hear you saying, well, Sample, don't be so silly. The E2's never... The Oshkosh. Well, bam! There it is. At Oshkosh doing flybys, and I think I can show you the rest. I can show you the rest of these. There it is. I took these photos. There it is. There it is. What's one? You want one? How about what if there was more than one? I timed this badly. There are two. There's 2 of them. Look at 2 E2Ds have been to Oshkosh. So eat your humble pie. Excuse me while I get rid of the GSX. This doesn't work with GSX. I know you're shocked. Again, this is rough around the edges, but it's free. It costs no money. It's actually a little bit of an older, St. Augustine, Florida. We should have just gone there. It's an older module. I think it's like, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 months old. The Avro that we looked at before came out this year, a couple months ago, I think. Ooh, February. So, I mean, there's weird stuff like when the wings are folded, little VHF antenna. I think that's a VHF antenna, sticks down below. I mean, none of the textures are like anything to write home about, right? But again, it's free. It's free. It's not awful on the outside, and it's free. Why'd you say on the outside like that, Sample? No, because this is our interior. Yeah. 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 Yep. I've got no stick to see. My pedals do not move. Yep. So this is a great, fantastic candidate for... Oh my god, none of these switches even work. This is obviously a FSX or geez, even FS9 port. Anyway, I didn't realize this getting into it, but I'd already downloaded it and installed. Oh wow, look, the oxygen panel. Oh, this entire line is backwards. Is this just mirrored from... It is. I don't know if I want to show you guys this airplane anymore. I didn't realize it was this bad. This is what free gets you. Look at there was okay, so this looks like it had at some point, some care done to it. Because, I mean, like, they have the modeled, like, screens out. There's just no textures. And look, I'm supposed to be able to be clicking on something here. I think this is just a bad flight sim port. Like a bad FSX port. It has to be. I feel like someone stole this, ported it, and said, hey, let me put this on the FS.to site, and Sample will download it and show it to his viewers who used to trust him. Guys, no. Does it look good from the outside? Oh, man. Okay, well, I mean, we've come this far, right? Like, I'm willing to admit my mistakes when I've made them. This is clearly a mistake, but I mean, we're here, right? We probably should fly it, right? Right? Look, we've got moving control surfaces. Isn't that neat? Don't you love that? Don't you love seeing that? Isn't that neat? Oh, man. How do I unfold the wings? SDK not compatible with the G3X. Please switch to SDK 2020 from the options pages. No, thank you. I'm not touching any of that because I'm going to use this airplane one time and then never again. Okay, how does one unfold the wings? It is not the flaps button. Wing lights? No. That's for the radome. That is kind of cool, though. I'll admit, that's cool. I feel like this is stolen. I can't prove it. But I feel like this is stolen from a dev who cared. Because you're not going to get stuff like the radome spinning via the wing light switch. And like reasonably decently modeled folding wings. Do I have? Yep, I've got control actuation on my rudders. I just gotta figure out the wing fold situation. Well, anyway, I'm gonna keep taxiing out. We're gonna taxi out to runway 36, and we'll see if I can get this figured out. Alright, taxied out to runway 36. I definitely didn't just reload the flight and start on the runway. I figured out the button for the wing fold, so you know, that's what happened. Let's go for a flight. We're gonna do most of this outside because I can't do that. So let's throttle them up. And while this does sound okay, I think it's definitely taken from the King Air. I don't know if it's the FS2020 King Air or which King Air, but it's taken from a King Air. The reason I say this is if you've heard an E2 in real life, well, did you see the wheels on the landing gear kind of move a little bit wobbly anyway? If you've seen an E2 in real life, you... Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotcha. Forgot the new flight sim language model. Anyway, it has a much lower pitch to the turboprop. Instead of that, it's more of a ooh. Yeah, that makes sense to someone. Like the video if you understand what the hell I'm talking about. I promise there's a difference. It almost... no. It's close to this. But it's lower pitched, but at a higher octave, if that makes sense. Yeah, no, I can't do it with the prop pitch here. Anyway, since we're here, let's give the old E2 a little bit of a flight shakedown here. We'll come down Air Show Center. Let's get that radome spinning for what it's worth. About to the right. The E2D Advanced Hawkeye. Yeah, definitely not winning any awards. I would probably include the award for hard drive space in that award. Oh, okay, it is kind of neat. There's a little radar on thing that shows up when I turn on the radome. That probably didn't take a lot of work, but you know what? We appreciate what we can get when we can get it. The flight stick cut out for a second there. We'll do a circuit of land, runway 36. Shut off the radome. Power back just a little bit. Dang, 200. We're going over 220 knots for a second there. Seems a little bit fast for a turbo. Well, maybe not for a turboprop, because I guess like the TBM, which is a by design high-speed turboprop, that does like 230 knots, I think. Yeah, this wasn't it. So we'll just focus on the Avro as my focal point for this. I apologize, but hey, it's free, and that's a great price. Well, I don't know. Like I said, if there's interest enough, we can do future episodes where we set ourselves budgets and see what we can get for said budget, you know, a $5, $10, $20, $40, maybe we'll do a $60, then an $80 airplane, something like that. Because the unfortunate reality is, unlike the early days of FS2020, nobody's making stuff for free anymore. You know, like, even stuff that should be, like, freeware garbage, for the most part, people want, like, a few bucks for. Do we have reverse? We do not have reverse. Oh, yeah, we do. It's just not making any noise. Okay. Well. Anyway, you asked for him. I delivered. You didn't really ask, but I delivered. Free airplanes in FS2024. Look at those tires. Wow, those are just, wow. Amazing. Anyway, that'll do it for this video. I'll see you in the next one with hopefully something better. Not to knock the dev of this, but I don't think I'll be keeping this one even for free. My name's Simple. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. As always, take it easy.